Way to go, Tic Tac!
That's how you punch.
Wakanda forever!
Nah, you wouldn't have heard of me.
Let me put you on hold.
Dance off, bro! He's a friend from work!
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
What up, guys? It's Dom, and welcome back to another movie review. Today we are going over and ranking Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, released in 2025, directed by Jake Schreier. After finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must go on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their pasts. Now, I honestly had no idea what to expect going into this movie. I'm a big Marvel guy, and lately they have been disappointing. I feel like ever since Endgame, I mean, it's obvious, everyone thinks though, it's not really a hot take. Ever since Endgame, it's really taken a steep drop with some big jumps at some points, like Spider-Man No Way Home, even like Deadpool and Wolverine. Even though that movie wasn't perfectly made, it was a big hit and everyone loved it for obvious reasons. But this is one of those that definitely surprised me, and I am very glad I saw it because it is up there. They did really well. But without further ado, let's just go over why with the 10 essential aspects of a movie. The first essential aspect is plot. Now, I like what they did with the plot of this movie. I think they took the basic formula that Marvel movies follow and took a big twist to it to make it unique, and it worked. Because instead of just being a team of heroes that defeats the bad guy, it is a team of heroes that sure will do that, but also along the way, learn this, figure this out, and use that instead of to defeat the bad guy to just help him, which doesn't happen often. Usually, it is a battle to defeat them and imprison them instead of literally trying to understand why and fix the problem. You don't get that often. And I think that this is the perfect movie to kind of introduce that because they find themselves relating to the villain a lot compared to, let's say, Captain America and Red Skull. They're not really comparable. It is two sides of a completely different coin. But either way, I think that was a great plot to choose for this kind of story, and it did come across well. The second essential aspect is attraction. Now, I'm very happy to say they did not add all the cringy, overused comedy in this movie, which I know, surprising, they have been with these movies lately. But I was expecting it to because of characters like Red Guardian. Now, what they did instead was have the comedy stick with him, and he is the one making the jokes like he's always supposed to. But it's not like the only thing that is coming out of his mouth is jokes, like they had, like in, for example, Brave New World with the new Falcon. He only spoke in jokes, and that's what I was kind of expecting, and why I was going to be upset about it was that Red Guardian was going to do that, but instead, no. He was exactly how I envisioned the character to be, which is why I think that they understood that the comedic needs to take a back seat. They should focus on the story, add it in at good moments, and that's it. And that is what they did in this movie, and it actually was very funny. I thought that it was funny, it was timed well, and it was only situational when they knew that the audience needs a break from all the seriousness, which I think they did correctly. And overall, when it came to the action-packed and everything, it's a Marvel movie. Of course, that's going to be attractive, especially to someone like me who loves superheroes. I loved the movie. I think they did really well, and even the choreography was done correct, or I keep saying correctly, was done well. So yeah, attractiveness for me, I think, is really good. The third essential aspect is theme. Now, they made the theme pretty obvious in this movie. Everyone has dark things in their past. Everyone's dealt with something. There's no one that has a perfect life that's never dealt with anything, unless they're newborns, then obviously. But people have lived life, and life isn't always fair. It's not always easy. So they really wanted to shine the light on that even superheroes have tough times. Now, I agree with that 100%. I always have. I know that everyone does deal with their own kinds of pain, and there can be some people that have unimaginable pain and some people that just have some unfortunate circumstances in their life. Now, that is definitely a topic that I'm glad they shined on, and especially with this team of anti-heroes that are all screwed up in their own ways, it made sense to have that theme come across and tell the audience that this can happen. So I think the theme was well chosen. The fourth essential aspect is dialogue. I think for the most part, the dialogue was good. I think the characters sounded how they were supposed to, and when they were talking, it sounded like they had chemistry. It sounded like exactly how the conversation between these characters should be from the start to the end. There were some moments where it felt off, it didn't feel as realistic, but they weren't major scenes. It didn't pull me out of the movie. Honestly, it is only just me nitpicking that I noticed it. So overall, I can't complain about the dialogue. The fifth essential aspect is acting. Now there's 3 actors I want to talk about. Everyone did a good job, but these 3 in particular stole the show for me at least. One is obviously Florence Pugh, who played Yelena. She is the main character. It's kind of her story, even though it is the Thunderbolts. She is the first person you see on screen and the last. So her in particular, I know that accents can be hard, and she nails that accent. She does it really, really well. But I feel like you can tell that she portrays Yelena in a way where she is constantly hurt by the loss of her sister. And you can see that emotion in her face while she is acting. So that's hard to do. That kind of emotional emptiness that you have to really have while playing that character is hard to do, and she did it really well. Another one is David Harbour, who played Alexei, Red Guardian himself. I mean, I love this actor, but also that character is hilarious to me. I feel like the lines that they gave him, he made sound perfect. Especially, he also does amazing with his accent. It sounds realistic. It sounds like he actually is Russian. And that character in general, I feel like is written really, really well for this style of comedy that they were trying to show with him. So yeah, he did a great job. And also Lewis Pullman, who played Bob. The only reason I'm kind of including him here, because he did good, but he had to play 2 completely different characters. I mean, it's technically one, obviously, it's just Bob, but he has 2 completely flipped personalities. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And him playing both of them that are completely different, they sound the same, they look the same, but completely different personality, different voice, different way of seeing the world. That's also hard to pull off. So I did want to shout him out and give him credit, because it did honestly sound like 2 different people were playing the one person. And that's hard to pull off. The 6th essential aspect is cinematography. So when it came to visuals, I think it was done well. It looked better CGI-wise than some Marvel movies have previously. Obviously, never perfect. It can't really be perfect. Otherwise, the CGI, you wouldn't even know is CGI. But when it came to emotional wise, I feel like you did have the time in this story to really connect with these characters, feel for them in those dark corners of their past, really connect with them on that kind of level, to where if something does happen in the future, you will feel it because of this movie. So I feel like emotionally they did pretty good. It wasn't perfect. There wasn't really any scenes that really tugged at your heartstrings too much. Some did, and those I did feel. However, they didn't really give a big opportunity to feel that deep emotion for some of the movie. There were parts where it definitely did hit. The 7th essential aspect is editing. So this movie is 2 hours and 7 minutes long. I think that's a fair length. A little bit over 2 hours isn't too long for this kind of story. I think they had the time to develop it. They had the time to kind of rally together, explain all their stories, kind of develop them a little bit, get to the bad guy, obviously Marvel fight scenes, and show the big experience that everyone's learned from it, and overall continue the story for the next movie. I think they had all the time they needed to do that. They didn't over push their limit. Sure, it could have been slightly shorter, but I don't really know if any scenes I would want removed in order to shorten that length. So that's why I'm saying I think it's a pretty good length. The 8th essential aspect is soundtrack. Now, in the moment when I'm watching this movie, I do enjoy the soundtrack, but I cannot remember it. So it's not like a memorable soundtrack. It definitely fit the movie, it fit the theme, but it's not one of those where you'll remember it a few years down the line, like, oh, that movie had an amazing soundtrack. It's not one of those. The 9th essential aspect is directing. So I feel like it's the director's job to take these previous 8 essential aspects, put them together to make a movie that's worth watching. And the director of this movie is Jake Schreier, and he's previously directed 2 movies, and they are Robot and Frank and Paper Towns. And I haven't seen those movies, but I mean, he's clearly improved just based off of the ratings of this movie. They're better than the other ones. I know that for a fact. I've never seen them. Maybe I will see them, but from what I know, they are definitely much better. So he definitely improved, and I feel like he captured the essence of this team really, really well to make a good movie out of it. And the 10th essential aspect is time. Within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this movie will definitely stand the test of time because it introduced a lot of new stuff and a new chapter in Marvel. So that will 100% stand the test of time. As it comes to all movies of all time, I don't know. It's hard to say. For me, it will. I'm a big Marvel guy, so obviously I will remember all the Marvel movies, good or bad. But when it comes to the general audience, I don't know if this would be one of those. You know what? I guess they will be, because it's one of those Marvel movies that's better than the rest have been lately, so maybe that kind of peak will be a memorable thing. But when it comes to all movies of all time, I don't think it's up there enough to really be standing the test of time that kind of way. Now, onto the ratings. So, Rotten Tomatoes critics gave it an 88%, Rotten Tomatoes audience gave it a 94%, and IMDb gave it a 76%. Now, I do think 94% is a little bit too high. I do think 76% is a little bit too low. I'm agreeing with Rotten Tomatoes critics here for the most part. I think it belongs in the mid to high 80s. I think it's a really good movie. It doesn't have too much that it needs to work on, but it still has that little bit. So I think high 80s is a pretty good ranking for it. I would personally put it at like an 85 to an 89, somewhere in that range. So yeah, I think Rotten Tomatoes critics got it pretty spot on. And finally, the rankings. So in 2025, it's going to be second, above Captain America Brave New World and below Sinners. Now, to me, this was an obvious placement. Captain America Brave New World wasn't that good. It was okay, it was fine, it wasn't incredible. This movie was. However, it was not as incredible as Sinners. Sinners I really loved. I think they did everything really, really well, especially the cinematography. So I just could not, in my right mind, put Thunderbolts above Sinners. I just couldn't. This was almost one of the easiest rankings I've done thus far. In the 2020s, it's going to be seventh, above Alien Romulus, but below Speak No Evil. Now, I think Alien Romulus is done well. It's a great new addition to the franchise. It looks amazing. I just think Thunderbolts, for the overall, I guess, audience, is a more enjoyable movie. It has a very interesting theme. It has a lot of elements that I think represent film slightly better than Alien Romulus. I think the one or two things Alien Romulus has on it is the cinematography and, I mean, I guess the visual and emotional of the cinematography. It has it beat. But other than that, I feel like Thunderbolts got it. I like the plot more. I like the characters more. I like the acting more. So for me, it was an easy choice. But I did put it below Speak No Evil. I think Speak No Evil has incredible acting. It does have the same kind of concept that I would say elevates the movie in general. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It just, I think the concept is more interesting than Thunderbolts is, I guess, what I'm trying to boil it down to. I'm just trying to sound smart, even though I am not. But yeah, Speak No Evil 100% has a more interesting concept to me. It has better acting. The plot is about on par to me. And even though I'm a Marvel guy, I cannot diss Speak No Evil. It is a great film. I really enjoyed watching it, and I would watch it again, which is why I put it above Thunderbolts. And in all time, it's going to be 22nd, again above Alien Romulus, but this time below X-Men First Class. Now, I'm not going to explain why it's above Alien Romulus, because I just did. However, it is below X-Men First Class. I think as superhero movies go, First Class definitely has a beat. I think the plot is more interesting. I think it's an origin story, so it just gives you more than just the Thunderbolts, since you already are kind of introduced to those characters. And overall, the X-Men as a team is just a more interesting team to me. I think the chemistry they have is incredible throughout the whole movie. And just seeing the younger character versions of these characters that you're already used to was a great experience in and of itself. So I think overall as a movie, it deserves to be higher up than Thunderbolts. That's all I have for Thunderbolts with an asterisk. If you guys enjoy this review, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to comment what movie or TV show you want me to review next. Definitely check out my best friend, Mr. Majoritarian. He does the same exact thing I do, except instead of one all-time list, he has two. He has one for cinematography and one for entertainment. If that's something that interests you, definitely go check him out. His link will always be in my description. And I hope you guys have an amazing night. Peace out.